Dirty water goes into the garden that you may or may not have. You live in New York City, you don't have a garden. What am I talking about? Hi, my name is Nisha Vora, and we're in the New York Times Cooking Studio Kitchen, and today we've got 3 fresh, exciting, and most importantly, flavorful vegan side dishes to make for Thanksgiving, or any holiday, fancy time, dinner party, you name it. First, a cheesy herb bread pudding with caramelized leeks, which is a really fun alternative to stuffing. Then we've got a maple roasted squash and chickpeas with mint-pistachio pesto, very gourmet, but pretty easy to throw together. And finally, we've got citrus-braised fennel with white beans. It's light, but hearty at the same time. Making vegan dishes for Thanksgiving definitely doesn't have to be a compromise. You don't have to replace your turkey with nuts. Instead, we're just gonna let the vegetables shine and be their best, brightest selves. This dish is cheesy, herby, milky, soft but crunchy. It's got all the best things, and I've been making it for Thanksgiving for the last couple years instead of stuffing, and it's been the most popular thing on the table. So we're gonna start with 2 cups of full-fat oat milk, and we're just gonna infuse it with a couple flavors so that our milk tastes like Thanksgiving. We've got 1 quartered yellow onion, and then a few fresh herbs. We've got some thyme sprigs, a large sprig of rosemary. You could also use sage, a bay leaf, and then of course, some salt and pepper. And you wanna just gently infuse the milk with everything over medium-low so that the milk has enough time to absorb all the deliciousness from the herbs. And that should take 15 minutes, give or take. While our milk steeps, we'll go ahead and start on the bread component of our dish. And I've got some just cubed sourdough bread. You could also use country loaf. And we're just gonna briefly toast it in the oven. First, coat it with a bit of olive oil. Day-old bread or stale bread is best, just kind of like if you're making French toast. You want the bread to be a little bit sturdy and not super soft so that the bread pudding doesn't turn into mush. And this will go in a 350 oven for about 10 minutes or until it's just golden and a little crisp. Our milk has thickened up nicely, so we'll go ahead and strain it. Oh, it smells like Thanksgiving. Now for part 3 of the dish, the leeks. A lot of recipes will tell you to just cut off all of these dark greens, but they're edible, and when you cook them down the way we will, they will actually get sticky and delicious, and you won't even be able to tell the difference between the white part and the dark green part. We're gonna slice them pretty thinly, about 1/8 of an inch thick, and that way they cook down into sweet deliciousness. And the best way to clean leeks is actually once you've sliced them, because there is dirt hidden all up in here. So if you were to wash it just before you cut it, you still have a lot of grit inside. Ta-da! 4 hours later. You can just add them to a large bowl of cold water. And now you just want to get your hands in there and kind of massage the leeks, because that's going to help slide out some of that dirt that's trapped between the layers. You're never too old to play with your food. It's very important that you don't drain these into a colander, because all of that dirt that's at the bottom of the bowl will just go back into the leeks. So instead, just use your hands to scoop them out of the water or a slotted spoon and transfer them to a towel so you can pat them dry. All right, now that the leeks have been baptized, we can start cooking them. So you want an 11 or 12-inch oven-proof skillet. I like using a cast iron or enameled cast iron just because you get that extra delicious browning in the oven. But if you don't have one, no sweat, use what you have. We're faux caramelizing the leeks. We're gonna soften them, and then we're gonna do a little cheat with some maple syrup. At the end, they'll be sticky and almost jammy. Once the leeks have softened, we can hit it with some minced garlic. Garlic and leeks, very classic, delicious combination. A little bit of salt and red pepper flakes, just a touch. It's gonna add a nice kick to cut through some of the richness of the dish. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of maple syrup, and this is gonna get the leeks nice and sticky, and it's gonna help in that caramelization effort without this taking an hour. Once you've got your maple syrup in there, just reduce the heat to medium-low so nothing sticks too much or burns. And just toss everything together as best you can. And then just pour your infused milk right over the dish. And I like to just press down on some of the bread so that it gets nicely covered in the milk. And that way you get that nice textural variation with some pieces being soft and milky and other pieces being crunchy. We're gonna let the bread pudding soak for 30 minutes, give the hard toasty bread some time to absorb some of that liquid. But if you wanna make this ahead of time, you can definitely do this whole process the night before Thanksgiving and just bake it when you're ready to bake it. And that is how you cook. Bread pudding has been resting for about 30 minutes, and you can see that some of the bread pieces are considerably softer. They've soaked up some of that delicious herb-infused milk. And before we pop it in the oven, I'm just gonna sprinkle it with some vegan Parmesan cheese, just to make it extra indulgent. If you can't find a vegan Parmesan cheese, you can just skip it. I've made this recipe many times without it, and it's still tasty. We're gonna cover this with foil and pop it in the oven at 350 for 30 minutes. Then we'll uncover it and bake it for another 30 minutes. We can get started on our second dish, maple roasted squash and chickpeas with mint pistachio pesto. I've got some delicata squash here today, but you can also use acorn squash or butternut. I like using delicata because it's beautiful and you don't have to peel it, which is very nice. Once you've got the tops and bottoms off, you can take your knife and just go down lengthwise. All right, here we go. Just scoop out all of the seeds in the center. You're gonna slice it thinly. I go pretty thinly here, about a 1/4 inch thick, which is a bit thinner than you might expect for winter squash. But when you roast it in the oven, it gets nice and chewy, but also crisp. You get beautiful browning. I like adding chickpeas here just to give this dish a little bit more heft, to make it a little bit more filling, especially nice when you have folks at Thanksgiving who are plant-based. This is a dish that can work as a side for most people, but it can also be a little bit of a heartier side dish, maybe a main dish for people who are plant-based. We'll hit our squash and chickpeas with some extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of pure maple syrup. It's gonna accentuate the natural sweetness of squash. Salt, of course, a little ground cumin, and some pepper. Just get in there and massage everything so it's nicely coated. I got some sheet pans heating in the oven at 450. Just gonna give the vegetables a little kickstart when it comes to browning. If you forget to preheat your sheet pans, it'll be fine. You might wanna just roast everything for a few extra minutes. And then just spread them out as best you can. It's okay if some of the chickpeas are kind of piled on top of the squash, but for the squash, you really want to try to get them facing the hot side of the pan so that they brown really nicely. Squash and the chickpeas have been in the oven for 15 minutes, and now we'll just flip them as best we can. It doesn't have to be perfect. We'll pop these back in the oven for another 15 minutes until they're nicely browned on both sides. Our squash is in the oven, our bread pudding's in the oven, so we can use this time to work on our third dish, citrus-braised fennel with white beans. I feel like a lot of people don't like fennel because it tastes like licorice. This dish is for you because you will not recognize fennel at the end of it. The way it cooks down, it gets melty, buttery, tender, sweet. It is just a delight. There's only like 7 main ingredients, but it tastes a lot more complex, and it's light but hearty at the same time. So I've got 2 large fennel bulbs here today. And if you're not as familiar with fennel, these are the stalks. We don't typically use them that often in cooking, but you can save them for a homemade stock for stock. And the wispy little leaves, these are the fronds, which we will use. You can kind of treat them as a fresh herb. They are delicious. But also it comes together entirely on the stove, and I'm sure your oven is very busy on Thanksgiving, so it's nice to have a dish that doesn't rely on the oven. So once you have your fennel bulb, we're gonna slice it lengthwise in half. Don't remove the entire core because then the wedges will fall apart. And from here, we're gonna slice it into 4 wedges for each half. If your fennel bulb is on the smaller side, you might wanna just do 2 pieces or 3 pieces per half. I'm just gonna pick off about 2 tablespoons worth of these fennel fronds. They smell so good. We're gonna use these to garnish at the end, like a fresh herb garnish. To cook the fennel, we'll be braising it, which essentially is a 2-part process. First, we'll sear it in a hot pan, And once it's nice and brown, we'll add a little bit of liquid and let it simmer until it gets super tender. Once you start to see some browning on the side facing down, you can start flipping the wedges and cook those for another 2 to 3 minutes until that side browns. So we're gonna just reduce the heat a little bit to medium and then hit it with some salt and pepper. Whew, smells good. Oh yeah, look at that. That is one perfect fennel. Now with all of this delicious fond, the brown bits at the bottom of the pot, we're gonna deglaze that with some freshly squeezed orange juice. And the orange is just gonna accentuate the sweetness of the fennel. And we'll cook this just for a few minutes until the orange juice cooks down a bit. I'm gonna deglaze with a bit of dry white wine. Totally optional if you don't drink, don't wanna buy wine, just use a full cup of vegetable broth. But it's Thanksgiving, so we're gonna do some wine. And we'll let this rapidly simmer for a few minutes just so that the raw alcohol smell cooks off. We're gonna go ahead and add the vegetable broth now. You wanna get a lid on this and simmer for 15 minutes. You don't need to stir it, but you do wanna check that it's not like bubbling over. You want a rapid simmer, but nothing too crazy. And I believe our cheesy herb bread pudding is ready to be taken out of the oven, so let me go grab that. Look at that. You could broil this if you wanted extra brownage for just a minute, but I think this looks perfect. Oh, the fennel looks so good. I'm just gonna add in a can of cannellini beans. These have been drained and rinsed. And then these just need 5 more minutes for everything to meld together and the fennel to get nice and tender. Our final step here is to cook this uncovered for a few minutes just to boil down some of that liquid so it starts to thicken and get nice and saucy. Once this is off the heat, we're gonna finish it with a few fun flavors. So we've got our fennel fronds that I chopped up earlier. We'll add most of those, save a bit for the garnish, and also some orange zest. This is gonna complement the orange juice flavor. It just really dials up the flavor, makes everything fun and zippy. Our fennel's done, our bread pudding's done, our squash is out of the oven, so now it's time to just plate everything and show you how beautiful it is. To finish our cheesy herb bread pudding, I'm just gonna scatter on some fresh chopped chives to brighten up the richness. For our maple roasted squash and chickpeas, I'm gonna slather some of this mint pistachio pesto across the plate. You can find that recipe at New York Times Cooking. Then I'll add the squash and chickpeas. I like garnishing this with some roasted pistachios and toasted sesame seeds for a little crunch. I've also got some Aleppo pepper for just a kick. And finally, some fresh mint and cilantro just to complement the pesto. When you're ready to plate the fennel, go ahead and finish it with some more fennel fronds, the zest of an orange, plus a little flaky sea salt. And I like to finish with toasted walnuts and sliced Castelvetrano olives for a meaty, hearty finish. Welcome to Thanksgiving. Everything looks so amazing if I don't say so myself. And I'm gonna treat it like real Thanksgiving and make myself a nice little plate of everything. Oh yeah. Woo. I took a big piece of that. Wow, bread pudding is like the most wonderful comfort food. It's like Thanksgiving in my mouth. It's so perfect. Get a little pesto on our squash, a little chickpea. The pesto is gonna be such a fun addition to your holiday table. It pairs so nicely with the sweetness of the squash and it just really perks up the whole plate. The fennel just kind of melts in your mouth. You've got that nice citrusy flavor, a little bit of saltiness from the olives. Just a delicious Thanksgiving plate all around. If you want to bring something fresh and exciting to your holiday table, but still with the familiar flavors of Thanksgiving that we all love, definitely try these out. Make one, make all of them. You can find them at New York Times Cooking, along with more of my recipes. Thanks so much for watching. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.